Hello, my name is Daniel. I work at DB Services, and today I will be presenting a topic about why making tests easier to write make it worse to use. This is based on the experience that I have in other companies and in the current company that I'm working on. And this is something that I have seen in many companies that they do. And we try to make tests better to write, but when we have to use that, it's a nightmare. There's a lot of problems. So here, I will try to present this, and we will discuss some of these issues that we have and things that we can do to make it better. So moving on for the next topic, for the first slide of this. So here, I would say that most people that are watching this video will probably have been working doing manual tests, and you can have, as I'm showing in the slide, two test cases. We have usually the one on the left that we do in some way close to this. We can use tools, we can do manually, we can use uh, word processing tools and sheet processing tools or things like that. But we have some of these documentations. Your project could have thousands of these and could be very old or very well maintained, and you use this to guide yourself. Most companies that start doing automation projects, they have the dream that they can use these documents and create test cases. On the right, we have another case, another example. This is a test case that is based on behavior-driven design, and it's something that you could also have on your project. And your dream is that you can have either case and just integrate in your automation project, and this can run perfectly your case. You don't have to deal with technologies, you have to deal with programming languages, and you use a framework that just does this for you. You just write the test cases, and then you are done. And this is what most companies dream doing, and you don't have to know so much about the programming language. So, what's the problem with this approach, and what happens when we do this approach and things like that? So, when we do this and we have things that does not have a technical logic in the programming skills, uh, we have problems that cause like usually what I see happening in most companies is that we write all these tests and then these tests starting to not run properly. So you write this takes no effort for you, and you only have to program because in when you translated this in any framework, and the most one of the most used in the market right now is Cucumber. So it will be translated in something like this, and this is something that you could program the red parts of the script. So you have to program this the given, and it will translate this message into a method that probably will be doing the things that you want, clicking in objects, waiting, and things that we are supposed to do in an automation project. The problem when it comes to this is that this is not something that is sustainable. You spend most of your time not here writing your tests. That's what you want. You will spend most of your time fixing the problems in the buttons, fixing the problems in images and things like that. And anything that changes in your system will break these tests. These tests need very high maintenance. They are not easy to maintain. They are not easy to understand. It could seems to be easier here, but getting in the method that actually does something for you takes a lot of time because you have to jump through a lot of hoops because this is just a calling of the method that there's a lot of translation that needs to be done. So what I have seen companies do this is that they have these scenarios here. They are easy to write but terrible to use because you have tests that are very slow to run. They take hours just to run one or two tests that are very simple. I have seen companies that they have scheduled tests to run in the background in the night, and then when they come back, they had a very low success rate because this is a very intensive labor. As you can see here, we have written in the test the variables, everything that we need to do the data, it's written here. So if you change the price, if you change the name, everything will break and you have to update. It could be seemed to be easy here, and it could be easy to do here, and you have solutions. I'm not saying that this cannot work, but I'm just saying that it's not sustainable. But it could be easier to fix things that are on the screen. But anything that breaks between the the test that we are seeing here and the methods that we implement are not very easy to trace. So you spend a lot of time running tests, maintaining these tests, just to have a very slower execution time and a very low success rate. So companies usually work with this, and depend of the company, they give up on this, or they just put a lot of people working on this, and this is a very intensive manual labor that you have to do. So what I'm trying to say here that we don't need to have exactly this. You can work in a place that you write the test cases in a way that you don't need to translate, and you have to adapt the test cases to the to another place, to another format, but you can call directly the methods. You don't need to have a translation machine in the middle. You can use something like Selenium and Cypress and call directly the method. You just have to name them in a way that they make sense for the people that are reading them, so it's easier to understand and it's easier to read and fix these problems. So here, for the next slide, I will show an example of a case that we have. I written by hand, and it's not in a IDE. It's just on a notepad, but it's something that we can use to make this interpretation and make this simple. We call directly the methods. We don't have translation in the middle, and we can even do in BDD. There's not a problem. We just can name the methods in a BDD way. We can use functions to do that. So there's a lot of room that we can do. So if we see in the next slide here, we have a very simple example that here is done in Cypress. You can have other frameworks that you can use, but I'm showing an example that we do in Cypress, and it's very simple. And it's a generic. We are not making any company data specifics, so we don't have trouble. But for here, uh, they describe is something that Cypress use. It's something that shows on this UI when you run your tests. You have a description for what you try to do. Then you have a before each, where you just exit the application, just opens the browser and types the URL for the system. So the method is everything, and you have a name that anyone that is reading can access and can understand very easily. And one thing that really helps us here is that what we do here is that we can open this method and we see directly the implementation of this method. So it's very easy to maintain, to adjust when it's necessary. So the maintenance is much easier when we do things like that, because we don't have translation layers that will be that we don't know where is the problem, because you can have a problem in your test case. When we go back to the other case, you could have a problem in your test case here. You could have a problem when this given is done. When it's translated, you could have a problem there. You could have a problem on the method that does the clicking. So you could have problems in many places. Here you can only have problems on the method. There is nowhere else to have problems. So if your test fails, you can come directly and just fix the problem. So lose way less time. And here we still have some syntax from Cypress that we have to use every time that we have an it. It's you could call it test scenario. So we have a scenario here that is just a positive scenario that logs in an application with a valid username. And I could also say valid username and password, but I forgot that. So you have a method that does enter the username. I have written here by hand that what the name of the username that I want. I could have variables. I could have a lot of. I could link to a file. I could do a lot of things here. I could put a random number, random negative, not number, but random name or something like that. I could use a lot of things, and this is the best part is that you can do directly here. You don't have to do in an older level because this is supposed to be BDD and you can't do that. No, you can do here. You can have a variable here and just use some random things. You can use link a spreadsheet. You can do a lot of things here, and it's very easy to understand because it's just the method. You just call a method and then you have the actions that you have to do in the method. You don't have translation layers, so it's very easy to understand. So you enter the password and enter the username, enter the password. You have another method to finish the login, and then you do the assert. There's not a test if you don't do an assertion, right? So you can assert if you have a successful login message. Not every system does that. That's why I use a generic, just that you are able to log in and you are in the main screen. So I put that in the method. But inside here, you would have a method when you open this, when you click on the enter username. I will not show here because this is just a test, just a document. But if I expanded and I would imagine in my head, if I have something written here, I would have a method that it would be, I would be wait to be on the login screen. To make sure that I'm on the login screen, I would be clicking in the username field. I would be typing the parameter that I passed to the method, and then I would wait that this parameter is complete, that it's written, and then the method would be done because it's a very this method only does a single action and only types the username. Then same thing for password. Wait for to be on the main screen. Wait to have the password to be visible, to be available to use. Then type that password. Then the password that I passed through parameters, and then wait for the password to be complete, and then the method is done. Finish login. Any application could have different behaviors, but I will assume here that we have a login button that we click on. So I would wait for that button to be available. I click on that button, and I can validate or wait for a message, but that would be basically just click on that button. And finally, I just have a method that asserts that I'm in the main screen, just an assertion that the login was successful. So it could also be renamed like that. You are free to do anything like 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 you can here, and then you can just uh, change and make this method that validates that you did the login correctly. This is the most important thing, and if this fails, you know that only that you have a problem. You still have because this is UI, right? UI tests are brittle, they have problems, they are not to be used in every case. So we understand that, but this is a way better system for people that have worked extensively doing automation to do this because it's easier to maintain, it's easier to understand. And looking at it, even if you don't have the technical knowledge, it doesn't seem so intimidating. Of course, before this describe, you could have a lot of maybe imports, but this is something just that you need to think that you can import it so you can test and run. So that's not very hard to do. And your UI, the IDE that you're using will probably help you on this. You have declaration of variables that can be a little complex, but it's just the variables that you do. So instead of using this number, this fixed parameters that we are using right now, you could be doing just calling a spreadsheet. You could be doing function that they do random values, random parameters for you, that's okay. It will be a method somewhere else. You don't have to worry about that. But if you read this doesn't seem that complicated. We don't have to simplify the writing of um, writing a test case. You don't need to create a layer that will have problems. Whenever we use automations, frameworks and things like that, it's not that simple. You don't, it's never like, oh, just write a test and it's running. You will have problems. The automation will also have bugs. So sometimes you won't don't not click a button. Sometimes your application can change. You don't have consistent HTML attributes. So many things can happen. And if you simplify and you only have the methods here, your job in your life, it will be much easier because you don't have to deal with the bugs that could happen between your automation layer, your how you describe your test, and how it's execute. This is just how you describe it's how it's executed. So it's very simple, and you don't have to deal with this problem anymore. You have just the tests that are written, and they can just run. One thing that it's very simple here, uh, we mentioned BDD. You can also do a BDD way. You can just rename the methods to use BDD acronyms. Of course, you can. It will be not that nice like this one that we have here, where we have spaces, because methods can have spaces, but and it won't have the colors that we have here. But you can use like given um, given that I have access the application. Uh, when I enter the username, I can rename my methods to something like that. I have seen this in other projects. There is not a problem. This will can make it easier to understand, especially if you use BDD on your company. You can use that. That's not a problem. So the point of this training is that, in this session, is that we are trying to do something about not using a layer to translate your tests, just write directly. It's very simple, and it's not that hard to adapt your test cases that are written into this. You could have uh, doubts when you are having specific methods that asks for a lot of things, but if you translate it properly, you won't have an issue. Make sure that your test cases are well written. I have worked in companies that when you took a look at the test case, they had not very well written. So make sure that your test case that you have written manually, they do we call the 3A's, but we can translate this in BDDs. Is that we do an insertion, we do I'm going to stop here. I'm going to look into AAA. Please cut this. So I'm coming back. Continue this. So the AAA is make sure that you have an arrange part. In this case, it's on before each. Make sure that you have an act part. So the act will be here where we do the enter the username, enter the password, something like that. And in the end, you have an insertion. So arrange, act, and insert AAA. Make sure that you have that in all your manual test cases that are written, because if it's not clear, that will make your tests also bad to run. But if the test cases are well written and you can do this translation, then you can just make your make your tests and make them into methods that will work, and you can reuse the methods, and you don't have to write a lot of things. One of other problems that we have with this when we write tests in BDD is that we can't we can't reutilize the test that we are done. So in this case that we have here, we are not we can't like it's very hard to use again. This is very generic. Maybe it could seem easy to do, but in reality, when we did test using this format, it was very hard to utilize uh, the things that we have written. It was very hard. So, and sometimes you can have different lines here that uses the same uh, set of code, but it's not clear. So this is all the problem that we have. So this is basically what we have for this session. It's a very quick and very thing subject to talk about, but it's I think that it's important when you are starting an automation project. Even if you don't have experience with the programming language, this is something that will help you more if you don't use a translation layer and use this directly. This will help your project in the future. So this is aside for the team. If you would like to contact us, please use this link. And thank you. Please explore our academy and play it again. Thank you.